Okay, so now we're going to show you how we set up our campaigns. So that way, if I'm dragging a deal across the pipeline, I can make it take different actions based off where we're at. Now, I'm going to go here and click on marketing, and then I'm going to click on campaigns. And for the sake of this demonstration, let's go ahead and we're going to just remove these deal stages. Or I'm sorry, not deal stages, these campaigns. Clicked on the wrong thing. And I'll show you what I am going to structure and set up. And this will be a great great practice for you for setting up triggers and automations and so forth. So we're going to set up a folder here, and we're going to just call this folder a pipeline. We'll just call it demo 1. And in this, we're going to create a couple campaigns. The first campaign, we'll call it the lead-in campaign under demo 1. And I'm going to go out just for now. I'm not actually going to do it yet. The second one, we'll put contact attempt campaign. And when we click down on this, let's see here. We need to actually put one in here. We'll put lead in. And I think I have to just create that initial one here. So we'll just put an SMS, and I'll hit save. I'm not actually going to do anything else other than this. But now we have a lead in. Contact attempt. These are just, this is just literally for a placeholder. We can change all that up later. I'm going to do a contact made. Then we have an appointment set. And you may choose to set yours up different. This is just how I set mine up, so that way logically I always know what's going on in my pipeline. But essentially what I'm doing here is I'm creating one campaign for each pipeline stage that I have. In some campaigns, you might consider universal campaigns, and you'll set those up outside of this folder, and maybe people can be in more than one campaign at a time. And then let's see, we got appointment set, and then we had a pending, and then we have also onboarding. Okay. So now I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We have all of these set up. Keep in mind they're all in draft mode. So we need to make sure that we have all of them published. And once you have these all set up once, you can always clone them, duplicate them for other future pipelines. And some people don't do this kind of setup at all the way that I'm doing it. And that's okay, but I still recommend that you go ahead and do this, especially if you're coming from version 1 of our lead carrot, because it's going to make everything else make a lot of sense for us. So now we have all of these campaigns built, and we also have a pipeline built, but how do we connect it to each one? Well, the way we do that is through triggers. So here I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call it pipeline demo 1. And my first trigger that I'll put in here is going to also be called lead in, and I'll put it in pipeline demo 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm creating what triggers this action to happen. So just so you understand how our automations work, when a trigger is something that happens and the action is what's going to take place after. So for instance, we want to scroll down, and when it says that a pipeline stage has changed, so I'll click this, and we'll put here that it's in this pipeline under demo 1. So what we're basically saying is when a lead lands in this pipeline under this pipeline stage, so now we got to go to this pipeline stage and it hits lead in, what do we want to happen? So let's just rephrase this one more time. When a lead hits the pipeline demo 1 and it goes into the lead in stage, now what we want to do is I'm going to first, and you'll understand this later, I'm going to make my first action remove from all campaigns. Because if they hit this pipeline stage and they start getting new stuff, I don't want, if they've ever gotten anything from me in the past, I don't want them to still be getting both. An example of this would be, let's say that I have an ebook funnel and somebody has purchased from me in the past and they're going through all their campaigns, and I don't want them to get those follow-up sequences anymore once they hit my webinar. So if they're hitting this, if they just opted in and now they hit lead in, now I want to remove them from all campaigns, and I'm going to add them to a new campaign, and we're going to put them in my lead in campaign. So you see that I always remove them from all campaigns first, and then I add them to a new one, and now I can click activate. So now I got this here. So now that I've got this premise of what I'm doing, it's going to be very similar for all of them. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this task, and we will keep it in the demo pipeline. Actually, let's do this, because these are all from doing demos for other people, so it's throwing me for a loop. So let's do our contact attempt. So here I'm going to do a very similar thing. I'm going to say that when the opportunity stage has changed in this pipeline, and it has gone from landed in the contact attempt phase, now what I want to do is I want to remove it from all campaigns, and I want to add it to a new campaign. I want to add it to appointment set. I'm going to go ahead and activate that. I'm sorry, not appointment set, contact attempt. Add that, save that, boom. Now we're going to really quickly do this just for the other ones. This one is going to be contact made. And we are going to put opportunity changed in pipeline demo 1, pipeline stage, contact made. What are we going to do? We will remove them from all campaigns, and we will add them to our contact made campaign. So what I'm doing here, because you don't need to, you get the point of what I'm doing. I'm literally saying that when a deal lands in here, I'm going to send them into the lead in campaign. But when it moves over here, I'm going to remove it from any of these campaigns and move it into the contact attempt. And if they respond to this and it moves into contact made, well, then I want to do this. So here's what you can do. You can set up, let me go ahead and show you how this works. If you go into your marketing campaigns and we go to our lead in, let's say that my initial text message is, hi, this is, let's just whatever. I'm not going to put any real thought into this. Hey, first name. This is Donkey Boy. What up? Okay, so we'll just go ahead and save this, and then let's say that if they don't respond to this, then one day later, we were to say, hey, just circling back. If I put, so what we would want to do is a couple things. If they do respond to this, we don't, in between here, we don't want them getting this just circling back message. So what we really want is if they respond, we want them to automatically go from lead in to contact attempt. And when they do that, because we have already set up a trigger that when you land there, it removes them from all deals and puts them into the new campaign, all we need to do now is set up a new trigger under lead in. We'll put this here in our pipeline demo. And there's a reason why I'm not merging this with the other one, because there's going to be different scenarios. So this adds flexibility by doing it this way. But if I click in here when a customer replies, and let's say that they've replied to, you can either to a campaign. So we'll say when a customer has replied to our lead-in campaign, then what do we want them to do? We want them this to update an opportunity in this demo one pipeline, and we want to send them into the contact made stage. So by sending them to this contact made stage, they will automatically get removed from any future automate or campaign outreach that's trying to get a hold of them, because it's already gotten a hold of them. So let's think this through just so we get it. A lead hits the lead in, and because we have set up all of our triggers and campaigns, we know that anybody that hits that lead in stage is going to get sent through these automations. But if they respond in between this, then it's going to automatically remove them to contact made. And then what happens when they hit contact made? Well, a few things could happen. There could be a notification that goes to you to let you know that it goes out, or you might put other things in your campaign of information that you're giving them. But let's go ahead and test this out just so that way we can see this taking place in action. We're going to go ahead and put me in here and put 262.365.1259. And I'm going to remove this tag. And they're going to go into this lead. I'm going to go into this lead in pipeline. So we'll just go ahead and save. So there I am. Now let's just wait till I get my text message that's going to come through here on my phone. Okay, so I got it. Hey, what's up, Ross? This is Donkey Boy. What's up? I'm doing well. How are you? So I'll go ahead and respond. So I've responded to this. And now let's just wait and see what happens. And one thing we can do is look at the chats in between. You can see it says here, I'm well. How are you? The triggers can take a moment to fire off. We'll actually do a refresh here to see if that works. If that worked, I should say. Yes, it did. So it moved it over here into the contact made stage. So now if we click on my name and we look at what campaigns I'm in, we can see that my past campaign that I was in the lead-in campaign. However, since we don't actually have an active campaign set up for the contact attempt, it didn't put us into anything because there was nothing for it to send. but you get the point of how that works. So essentially, we are setting up a campaign for every deal stage, and then we set up a trigger that says when you move it to a deal stage, it removes it from all other campaigns and drops it into the campaign for that one. And then you can set up little triggers for all of those. For instance, we could also set up a trigger, and this is why I recommend you set up your calendar in LeadCurate, which you can do in the integrations. We could put appointments. We could just put calendar, booked on calendar. Okay, so what you could do is you could say that when a customer books an appointment in this calendar, which is one we created, you would want to make sure that your calendar is specific to that pipeline, because otherwise, if it's not specific to that pipeline, and you can create unlimited calendars, what could happen is if somebody books from a different calendar, it'll still fall into the same pipeline. What you do here is you would add an opportunity or update an opportunity in this pipeline, and we'll just say put it into appointment set. So now what this will do is, let's say that you're waiting for this person to send, and let's say in your follow-up campaigns, you have that calendar link in your campaigns, and they finally book an appointment. What's going to end up happening is if they respond, it goes here or here, and if they actually book an appointment, it's going to automatically move into this stage. So that way your deals are updating on their own, because what I find is that most people in a bigger sales organization, if you've got multiple team members, they forget to do these things. And so that's how you would structure that. But that's a basic rundown of how these automations work. And once you get your head wrapped around it, there's a lot of really cool things you can do, because there's a trigger for almost anything you could possibly ever need within LeadCurate. Take a look here. There's a trigger for when somebody's added to a campaign, when an appointment status updates, when if there's a customer's birthday that's put in there, and a call status. If somebody goes on the DND, which is basically like you're no longer going to contact them. A contact tag is added, custom date reminder, customer booked appointment. Just go through here, get familiar with these, because all of these are something that you can set up a trigger for, and then your actions are vast as well. There's a lot of actions that you can do in here, and over time you're going to want to go through and learn about each one of these things and how these things all work. So hopefully this helped you out and opened up your mind to how you can quickly get your automations and your pipeline syncing